welcome to Sinister Studies. Join me each episode as I delve into some truly sinister topics and traumatize my family. I'll be joined by one or more teenager, and from time to time, we'll have special guests. Be forewarned, our stories are seriously sinister, so listener discretion is always advised. Oh, and she's gonna blow bubbles in her bowl now. Okay, welcome back to part 3.
Oh.
Pardon the dog.
Loudly slurping her water.
I don't even know what's happening right now.
She's like biting it. She's biting the water.
Can we move that bowl, please?
Piper, can we not?
When we last left off, Charles was dead.
R.I.P.
Laurie didn't care to share the information with his family, and she was telling everybody different reasons why he died. More that Charles's family tried to get information from Laurie, the more evasive Laurie got. She claimed she was going to have him cremated and later have a celebration of life. This was, according to her, per Charles's wishes.
Wait, so does that mean they're not going to have a funeral?
Correct.
Okay.
His sons from his first marriage asked Laurie for Charles's watch collection. He collected high-end watches. He loved them. Instead, they received 2 Timex watches in the mail.
Couldn't even give them like a couple of the watches?
Couldn't even give them a Citizen's watch or a Seiko. No, she gave them Timex watches.
She couldn't even... Were they from his collection?
I would say that's unlikely. Because if you're collecting high-end watches, you're not going to have a Timex. Your low-end watch will be something that's at least a couple $100. Not a Walmart watch.
Yeah, the bar is a little higher. So she couldn't have been like, okay, well, here's 2 of his watches. You can have them.
No, she could not do that. She could not.
Fucking ridiculous. Like, it would have been so easy.
So as a result, his children from his first marriage got nothing of value from their father. Laurie did end up having him cremated and sent his ashes to Louisiana, where he grew up. The Vallows did eventually have a memorial service for him, but Laurie couldn't be bothered to show up to that.
Oh my God.
So on July 15th, 4 days after Charles's death, Laurie tried to collect his life insurance policy.
Boo.
She was enraged to find out that Charles had changed the beneficiary to his sister. Laurie immediately started limiting JJ's interactions with Charles's family as punishment for Charles's changing his will, his life insurance policy. She started telling people that her 2 older brothers were in league with Charles, and they had been thrown out of their parents' house as a result, and Laurie was terrified of them. Chad had been focusing on the other dark spirits in their lives at this time as well. Alex was more than willing to help. We know he likes to do his part. He started visiting the shooting range more often. Chad started telling Laurie that Tammy, Tylee, and JJ were all possessed by evil spirits, and the only solution to rid them of these evil spirits was, as we know, death. By the end of July, Laurie put JJ's service dog up for adoption, claiming it was because Charles had died. Because she's a cunt. We're gonna bring this word back to the United States.
Single-handedly.
Single-handedly. If they can say it in Scotland and England and Ireland, we can say it here.
Why is it like such a bad word anyway?
Because with any languages, there's like just some words that translate differently.
Why?
I don't know. Because there are words English words that you go overseas and they're like, you shouldn't say that. That does not mean what you think it does here. Type of situation.
Okay. I don't understand swearing in the first place, to be honest. Like, it's such a dumb concept. Like, somebody at some point in time decided, you can't say that anymore. And then everybody stopped doing it, and now it's, like, punishable if you do it in, like, an inappropriate setting.
Yes.
It's like, what? I don't understand.
I don't understand either.
It's like all made up shit. Like, what the hell? Like, it's really not that deep.
It's not. Sometimes you just need it for emphasis. So in early August, niece Melanie visited Laurie after her divorce was finalized, bringing with her her new matched boyfriend.
Oh,
Remember?
yeah.
Chad and Laurie playing biblical matchmakers. She was appalled to find out that Laurie's children were zombies.
Oh.
She did ask Laurie why so many people around here were becoming zombies. Laurie said it was because of her status, her spiritual status. It's going to draw the evil spirits in to try to defeat her. On August 5th, Laurie sent JJ to school, who described him as creative, entertaining. He was a spitfire. But on August 10th, JJ called Kay and Larry Woodcock. It was a 35-second call. It was a FaceTime. Per Kay, it appeared that he was reading something off screen, and he said hello to them, and then said he had to go. Kay emailed Laurie immediately to try to set up a visitation with JJ. She was basically begging for some sort of contact with this child. Laurie never replied to her email. On August 25th, Kay emailed Laurie again for either a FaceTime or a visit. Again, Laurie never responded. On August 27th, Jesus Christ.
I am going to throw something.
Oh. It's the Amazon man. We don't bark at the Amazon man. No, he's going. He brought somebody a package. It's all good. Okay. Now that Amazon has successfully delivered their package and the dogs can shut the fuck up.
Sorry, Amazon guy.
On August 27th, Laurie and Alex rented condos in Rexburg. Their condos were next to each other. Laurie and Alex. Laurie and her brother rented side-by-side condos in Rexburg, Idaho.
Uh-huh.
Which was close to the LDS church and to Chad's home. Laurie and Tylee were quickly packing up to leave, as per her MO. Unbeknownst to Tylee, Laurie had changed the account where the Social Security benefits for Tylee's deceased father were being deposited. They were now being deposited into Laurie's own account. On August 30th, Laurie, Tylee, and JJ drove to Colby's work to say goodbye. They had not told him that they were leaving.
Oh.
She told him that she was moving somewhere cold for work, but couldn't tell him where she was going. Which, she's a hairdresser, so yeah, well, Laurie's a hairdresser, so, I don't know why she needs to go somewhere cold to work. It's not like her skills aren't needed in the warmer climates that she's already living in. Colby said that Tylee looked really upset about the move, but she didn't say anything to him about it, and she didn't contradict her mother. The following day, Laurie told a dog trainer that she needed that service dog picked up immediately. They were leaving, and he needed to come and get this dog. When the trainer got there, JJ was already buckled in and ready to go, and Laurie had all of the dog's belongings already packed away in a big bin. Toys, bowls, food, everything. Already packed in.
Well, at least she's leaving stuff for the dog.
The trainer was baffled by the whole situation. Like, I can't even imagine what he's thinking, because she's taking this child's service dog away.
Yeah. Kind of ridiculous. Kind of insane. Okay, whatever.
And so, Laurie, Tylee, JJ, and Alex all moved to Rexburg. Chad kept assuring Laurie that Tammy would soon be dead. They met frequently at the BYU campus because nobody on the campus had ever seen Tammy.
On the BYU campus?
Yep. They met at the BYU campus.
Oh my God. Mormons.
Chad also couldn't go to Laurie's house because that would, look bad. The children also didn't know about him. Tylee was very withdrawn at this point. She was upset about the move. And they were trying to also avoid Tylee's scrutiny of the situation. Chad and Laurie and their faithful followers started stockpiling supplies for the end of days, which was fast approaching. On September 8th, Alex and Laurie took the kids to Yellowstone, the Montana portion, where they posed for pictures at the park entrance. You will see these pictures when these episodes post. I'm posting pictures.
Wait, what? I don't understand.
Because you don't even look at it. On the Instagram, instead of posting...
Who says I've never looked at the Instagram?
I don't know.
Anyway.
But instead of posting a picture of them, I'm posting a picture, at least I'm going to cut this anyway. The first one's coming out tomorrow morning.
Uh-huh.
So it's going to be pictures of all the people that are directly connected to them that have died, that they are suspects in their deaths.
Okay.
Or being charged for their deaths. So you'll see this picture of Tylee and JJ. It's fucking adorable. It's really sad. That's the last picture ever taken of the two of them together. So on their way home from Yellowstone, they did stop at a barbecue place for dinner and returned home just after 8:30. That 8:30 time was the last time anyone had seen Tylee. Per the FBI timeline, on September 9th, 2:42 a.m., Alex was in Laurie's condo for over 1 hour. They're thinking he probably killed Tylee then. He left at 3:37 a.m. for 1 hour. He returned home at about 4:30 in the morning and left again just before 9 a.m. At 9:21, his phone pinged on Chad's property to the area that was Chad's known pet cemetery. Also, I almost spelled that. Actually, I did. You see, I spelled it here. I actually spelled that, because I wrote pet cemetery all together. Yeah, that's how I spelled it. They think that Chad dug the grave and Alex buried her body. We will find out that it's worse than that.
What do you mean it's worse than that?
It's worse than that. I'm just hitting the highlights right now.
Okay.
No, it does get worse than that. Never mind. I've already moved on to the not highlights, the incredibly low lights. Tylee was buried with her head in the ground and the rest of her on top of her head in a large green bucket.
What?
They had burned her.
So wait, what do you mean? Did they decapitate her?
Yes.
And then burned her?
Yes.
And put her in a bucket?
Yes. Her uncle did this with her mother's boyfriend with her mother's knowledge. Somebody has a hell of a lot of cologne on right now. Can you smell that?
I'm sorry, I'm still stuck.
I know.
It's huge.
Hi.
What's the bottom?
I'm actually gonna, sob or something, I don't know. Oh. All children deserve parents, but not all parents deserve children. These motherfuckers definitely didn't deserve children.
Alex left Chad's house at 10:47 to go to the nearby city and returned 10 minutes later. He left for good at just prior to 11:40 a.m. and had lunch at a taco place.
How do you just continue doing things after that?
I don't know. Chad's property obviously smelled really, really rank at this point. So to cover his tracks, Chad texted Tammy to let him know that he'd caught and killed a raccoon. He'd shot it and buried it. That was going to explain what was going on in their yard. Laurie was telling everybody at this point that Tylee was away at BYU. On September 14th, Laurie took a picture of JJ at a Yellowstone Bear World, which is apparently a thing. Don't think you get to pet the bears, though.
That's sad.
2 days later, he was seen on a neighbor's security camera. On September 17th, she went on care.com to hire a nanny for him. A woman that Laurie had emailed to be JJ's nanny went to Laurie's house to observe JJ and his behaviors, because being that he was severely autistic, obviously you want somebody that's confident enough to handle him. You don't want somebody with no experience. Laurie laid the sob story on that JJ didn't know that his father was dead, his sister had moved away and would only babysit when she was paid to do it, and only showed up at their house for food and to do laundry. Laurie asked her to start the very next day. That day, JJ's grandparents emailed again, and they were becoming increasingly frantic about the whole situation. It had been over 5 weeks since their last FaceTime with JJ. Laurie never responded to their pleas to speak or to see JJ at all. Also, that same day, Chad called Laurie to say that JJ was now a zombie and loved Satan. The small child, was a zombie and loved Satan.
Okay, wait.
I hope this motherfucker gets the death penalty. That's all I can say. If anybody deserves a death penalty, it's him. But we'll talk about that at the end.
That the kid. Oh my god.
On September,
this is so
I know
bad right now.
I know, it's awful. Like, these people are terrible, and they deserve all the worst things in the world to happen to them.
I'm actually gonna cry. I'm so pissed off.
On September 18th, the nanny showed up, and Laurie left JJ with her. Ugh. She told the nanny that JJ had played with his friends most of the day. After dinner, JJ had a huge meltdown and became super destructive. The nanny said that when she told Laurie babied him like his behavior was okay, and that the nanny was at fault, and she sent the nanny away. JJ's behavior has nothing to do with the fact that his mother is completely absent and doesn't love him at all. Laurie's proof that JJ was a zombie is as followed. As follows. He started to sit still more, and his vocabulary was growing.
To sit still more?
Yep. I mean, he was autistic, so therefore he can't sit still at all, and he needs to use small words. Because, it's not normal for a child's attention span and vocabulary to grow as they get older. Laurie began telling people that JJ was going to live with his grandparents in Louisiana because he was interfering with her mission. Her plan was to tell Kay that she had breast cancer and couldn't manage JJ as a result. Chad and Laurie behaved like teenagers in love, regardless of the fact that Tammy was still alive. That weekend, Laurie and friends were recording their podcast in Laurie's kitchen between 10 and midnight. Alex was watching JJ in his condo, and at some point during that recording, he brought sleeping JJ home to put him to bed. This was the last time that anybody saw JJ. By September 23rd, Laurie's friends were leaving Laurie's house, and JJ was nowhere to be found. When asked, Laurie said that he was being a zombie and had climbed the fridge to smash a picture of Jesus.
Had climbed the fridge.
He climbed the fridge to smash a picture of Jesus. Yes. Laurie said that they couldn't see JJ because she had brought him to Alex's house. The FBI reconstruction and timeline of JJ's last moments have never been released. I expect that they will be released very shortly.
What do you mean very shortly?
As of today, Chad Daybell is on trial.
Kill his ass. Put him in prison for 5 lifetimes. You know what? If supposedly you have, a ton of lives, he should be in jail for all of his next lives.
He should, yes. Terrible, terrible things. Reincarnation. If you do bad things, you get to be worse thing, right? You get to go backwards.
And in some belief systems.
According to the FBI and forensics experts, JJ fought for his life. Alex, this is terrible. I just need you to know this right now.
Oh.
It's worse than...
Is it?
It's worse than what they did. Yeah. Do you want me to skip it?
No, you can say it.
Alex duct taped JJ's mouth shut and then looped the tapes multiple times around his chin and forehead. He then used duct tape to bind JJ's arms and legs, and then took a plastic shopping bag and put it over JJ's head. He followed that up by placing JJ's body in a contractor's garbage bag. He brought JJ to Chad's property, where they buried his body. They covered his body with wooden planks and then topped that off with 3 large stones. Some weird type of marker. I don't understand why they did that for JJ. They did nothing for... these are terrible people. All of them. September 24th, which would have been Tylee's 17th birthday, Laurie called JJ's school and told them that JJ would be staying at his grandparents' for a while and wouldn't be in school as a result. She also told the nanny that she was going to Hawaii and JJ was going to his grandparents. Meanwhile, she's using Tylee's phone to respond to happy birthday texts that she was receiving, including to her brother Colby. Laurie kept putting Colby off because he wanted to actually talk to her on the phone. Colby said he was immediately suspicious because the texting style was much different than Tylee's.
If you're going to be posing as somebody over text, at least
use the goddamn emojis
up a little bit and look at how they text.
No, we did not do that. Laurie told people in Rexburg that she had taken JJ to Louisiana to be with his grandparents. Well, soon after, Chad was excommunicated from the LDS Church due to his self-proclaimed prophet status and his ramblings about end days and extremist beliefs.
How are you going to be so crazy you get kicked out of the LDS Church?
Among other things, he was not allowed to go into the church and was told that he could no longer preach on behalf of the Mormon faith, which is fair.
Yeah, if I was a Mormon, I wouldn't want this motherfucker preaching on my behalf either.
Charles was also increasing the payout on Tammy's life insurance policies. And at the same time, Laurie was researching different types of ammo. If this is nothing but a warning to everybody that your every move is going to be tracked, and if you commit a heinous crime, they can find you that way, I don't know what else is. Like, these are like legitimate things they found on her computer. Like, we have proof of all of this.
Didn't even like delete it from our search history. Didn't use
They can
incognito.
still pull it up. They can still pull it up
on the computer.
Even if you delete something, it's still there.
No, but like on the computer itself, or like pulling like data from like an external.
IP, I'm assuming it's on her IPS.
Anyway.
On October 1st, Laurie rented a storage unit. She, Chad, and Alex spent a few days moving all of JJ and Tylee's belongings into the unit. They also removed JJ's car seat from Tylee's green Jeep. The next day, Alex drove the Jeep to Arizona with the mission to kill niece Melanie's soon-to-be ex-husband, who also had a hefty life insurance policy on him.
Oh my God. Crazy.
This is Brandon. Brandon was pulling into his driveway, but saw Tylee's green Jeep and Alex inside. When he looked into his mirror, he saw that Alex had a gun. He heard a shot, and the bullet barely missed him. Brandon raced away in his car and called police immediately. He took his kids and went into hiding immediately as a result. On October 3rd, Laurie used Charles Vallow's Amazon account to order matching malachite wedding bands and wedding outfits.
She used her deceased husband's Amazon account to buy things. Okay, first of all, you're getting married and you're buying your outfits and your rings from Amazon.
I mean, that has a really nice
Amazon. Your dead husband's Amazon account too.
Yes,
that's so disrespectful. That's actually insane. That's actually just like really?
Yes. On October 5th, Tammy was encouraged by Chad to visit her family in Utah. She left the very next day. On October 10th, Tammy was in her driveway unloading her car when Alex showed up in a ski mask. He shot at her a number of times and missed, so I guess his trips to the shooting range did him no good. He missed this woman every time.
Skill issue.
Tammy called the police, but they didn't find anything. So Tammy called the police at this point, but they didn't find any clues or any information. There was no information. There was nothing they could do. They thought it was a prankster with a paintball gun. I mean, there had to be bullets somewhere. If he missed her, they had to have gone somewhere. So they didn't search very hard.
Clearly not. Paintball? They thought it was paintball?
She made a cautionary...
Wait, wouldn't there be paint if it was paintball?
One would think, because he shot multiple times. Plus, he just shot clear over the car, over Tammy, over the house, over everything.
The bullets just disappeared?
They disappeared.
That's why none of them hit her?
Because they just didn't look for them.
They're actually invisible.
Tammy made a cautionary post on Facebook to warn her neighbors about the attack. On October 14th, Kay and Larry Woodcock were desperate. Kay begged for some kind of communication with JJ, and Laurie again ignored her email. On October 19th, Tammy died in her sleep. Chad...
Died in her sleep?
Yes, she died in her sleep.
Of natural causes?
She died in her sleep, and don't question it.
Okay.
Chad called 911 saying he'd found her dead. He told them that she had been coughing the night before, and she went to sleep and never woke up. He also told them that she had been ill for a while, and his tone with the 911 operator was calm and
ridiculous ass cat.
So Chad was calm on the call and answered all of the questions. He did say that she had been ill for a while at that point. So he declined an autopsy, which meant that Tammy's body was brought straight to the funeral home instead of to the morgue. Chad called Tammy's family to let them know what had happened. Neighbors said he was very calm and seemed unfazed by the situation. For reference, when you were a baby, our landlord next door, this happened to her. This literally happened. She died in her sleep. She was maybe 50-ish.
Wait, who?
Our landlord. Because we lived in a duplex. The other side had the couple that owned the house.
Did we? When was this?
When you were babies, the street that we lived on. We lived on a duplex.
Know that you lived in a duplex.
Yes. So half of the house was ours. Well, a third of the house was ours. 2/3 of it was theirs. She died in her sleep.
Uh-huh.
There was police. There was rescue. There was fire. The husband was outside talking to police. Paramedics were inside. The husband was besides himself.
Were you, in the house at that time?
Yes, I was awake because some children maybe didn't sleep through the night for many years.
When was this? How old were we?
You were probably about a year old. Probably about a year. Yeah, maybe a year and a half.
Okay. I'm glad that's not what my brain decided would be my first memory.
So yes, but I mean, you weren't necessarily awake, because I had to look out the window and.
But wouldn't I have heard something?
You guys only woke up to eat, to get cuddled, and get put back to bed.
Okay.
We weren't playing in the middle of the night. I did a lot of TV watching during that period of time, as did Dad. Later that day, Chad posted to Facebook, "I am sad to share that my beautiful, talented wife passed away early this morning in her sleep. It is a shock to all of us. She was so beautiful in every way. We are still working out the details. We plan on holding a viewing Monday evening in Springville, Utah, then hold the burial on Tuesday. Then hold memorial service in Rexburg Wednesday at 11 a.m. We are overwhelmed by the outpouring of love and support. Thank you so much." Again. Tammy was buried 3 days after her death. After the services, Chad told people that Tammy's spirit had already visited him to help him get his affairs in order and talk about their children. He also discussed Tammy's life insurance policy with people at the funeral.
I mean, I feel like that's not the immediate thought usually.
No. And if you immediately try to collect on somebody's life insurance policy, that makes it look really sus because you're grieving, you're dealing with burying the person. I get that it costs a lot of money.
Yeah, but wouldn't you at least get through all of that before worrying about
or
life insurance?
Talking to random people about it?
Yeah, that's weird. Even if it does come to your mind that soon, why are you going out and talking about it? That's weird.
He followed this up by bringing his children to Laurie's house to have tea together so they could get acquainted. Another side note, when Grandma was dating, when I was a child, I never met them unless it was serious. And after a long period of time, she never it's weird. It's weird to me that anybody would I don't know, I guess they technically were serious and had been dating for a while, but while he was still married to their mother, which would have been glaringly obvious to the older children.
Yeah. Also, I mean, wouldn't it just be I mean, like, their mom literally just died.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, they're being dragged over to some random woman's house.
Yep, just to say hi. Just wanted you guys to get to know each other. Let's have some tea.
Ugh.
He also really quickly cashed in Tammy's life insurance policy of over $400,000.
Is that a lot of money? I don't know.
I mean, yes, $400,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
On October 25th, Laurie continued to text family and friends of Tylee, pretending to be Tylee. On October 27th, niece Melanie's ex-husband Brandon hired a private investigator. He told them that Melanie's aunt was part of a doomsday cult, that his ex had previously disappeared, and he had a $1 million life insurance policy to which Melanie was the beneficiary. The next day, niece Melanie rented a condo right next to Laurie and Alex.
Oh.
On Halloween of that year, Chad posted a personal essay titled As I See It. He talks about moving to the next phase of his life.
Wait, how soon after her death was this?
$18 days.
Not even a month?
Mm-mm.
Jesus.
He outlined how Tammy died and how she was the backbone of their relationship and their business dealings. He also said that she'd come to him to tell him that God had great plans for him. At the same time, Alex went with niece Melanie to pack up her home in Arizona. They arrived just as the private investigators did, after a call from her neighbors. He found Alex and Melanie packing up household goods, but leaving the kids' clothes and toys and other belongings on the curb with a sign that said free, which he found really fucking bizarre. They're all fucked. They're all fucked. His whole family is fucked.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He put a tracker on their car and proceeded to follow them around. He also called Brandon to let him know the situation with the kids' belongings, and he circled back and picked up all of the kids' stuff and brought them to Brandon. The following day, Melanie posted on Facebook with a $10,000 reward, saying Brandon had run away with the kids and was missing since October 15th, and that the police wouldn't help her. She called him a wolf in sheep's clothing. And then she and Alex promptly drove to Rexburg. Arizona police were now putting the pieces together and asked Rexburg police to watch Laurie as Tylee's car was used in the commission of a crime in their state. Laurie and Chad flew to Hawaii on November 3rd after arranging for a beach wedding scheduled for November 5th, which was approximately 2 weeks after Tammy's death.
Getting remarried 2 weeks after?
Well, no, that would have been 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
So
that's not even a month, though.
About 3 weeks after Tammy's death.
That's not even a month, though.
They told the minister that they were in a hurry to get married. It was very urgent business. On November 5th, the couple married on the beach wearing white linen outfits. And they used the malachite bands that they had purchased with Charles's money. This began Laurie's 5th marriage and Charles's 2nd. Laurie and Chad posted photos.
Wait, you
on
mean
the
Chad's
beach.
2nd?
Huh?
You mean Chad's 2nd?
Chad's 2nd, yes. Laurie's 5th and Chad's 2nd marriage. The couple posed for photos on the beach, groping each other at times.
That's okay.
The whole thing lasted 45 minutes. The preacher found it really odd because usually when you're paying for a wedding, you want to get your money's worth. They just wanted to get it done and get on with their lives.
So why didn't they just go to a courthouse or something?
I haven't the slightest fucking
Sign
idea.
the papers and then go to the beach.
That's really, literally all you do. The actual marriage ceremony does not make you legally wed. It's signing the papers. So for all intents and purposes, you can just show up somewhere and sign some papers.
So if they really wanted
You
it
don't even
done
have to
that
exchange
quick,
vows. As long as you have a witness and somebody is a minister, they can sign off on it.
yeah, right. As long as you sign the papers and then there's somebody ordained there, and then it's like, boom, you're good.
So we know a lot of people who have the authority to just sign marriage certificates.
Wait, who? I know
Uncle Joe,
he can.
Titi Loca, Emily.
She can?
Yes. And I'm sure there's more.
Okay, well,
That's 3 right off the top of my head. Following day, they showed up at a home attempting to rent it, even though somebody already lived there. Knock, knock, knock.
hey, can I have your house?
Pretty much. They gave the owner of the house another BS story, which made her skin crawl. So she Googled Chad and found out that his wife had just died. She obviously declined the offer of them.
Wait,
living
what was
in her
the
house.
story? Do you know?
I don't know what the story was. Apparently, it skeeved her out to the point where she Googled him.
She was like, I gotta run a background check on these motherfuckers. That's how bad it was?
Yes. On November 7th, when the original house didn't work out, they contacted a property management company to inquire about renting a home for a couple with no pets and no kids. It's important when you're renting. No pets, no kids. They love that. Kay Woodcock, at this point, started digging around, and she found that she had access to Charles's email account, where she found all the Amazon email confirmations.
After his death?
After his death. She continued down the rabbit hole and found the internet searches on beach weddings. Apparently, Laurie was using Charles's computer because, my searches on this computer show up on my desktop at work because I use the same browser. So if anybody looks into my search history at work, I'm kind of fucked. They don't care. They know. Everybody knows. Actually, I don't know that everybody knows, but a lot of people know.
I mean, you've been working there long enough. You're kind of...
I know, I'm an odd duck.
You're doing enough to make it worth it, I think. If you have some peculiar things in the search history, they're just like, all right, whatever. She's got a podcast. It's fine.
On November 11th, Melanie was arrested after showing up at Brandon's parents' house with her uncle Alex, demanding her children. Police were called when
Well, that's fair.
Yes. Well, I mean, yes, but he went into hiding because Alex tried to kill him.
Yeah.
Police were called when she refused to leave. The dispatcher could hear Melanie trying to force her way into the home. She was charged with criminal trespass and domestic violence.
Wait, I'm losing my mind. Who?
Niece Melanie.
Niece Melanie?
Niece Melanie. Remember, there's 2 Melanies in the story.
Wait, who was the other one again?
The friend from the Doomsday Preppers.
Oh, yeah. Okay. What happened to her? It's just...
There's only some... I can't go in depth about everybody in the story because there are so many people.
It's just so convoluted.
Alex immediately bailed his niece out. Soon after, Laurie and Chad came back to Rexburg, and he told Tammy's family about the marriage. He also introduced her to his parents, saying her daughter had died a year ago, introducing her. That's a grieving mother whose daughter died a whole year ago instead of a whole 2 months ago. By November 25th, Kay Woodcock had enough. She reported JJ missing to the police and explained everything. She was also able to give them the address in Rexburg thanks to Laurie's Amazon purchases. Her police department called Rexburg, who was already in the process of investigating Laurie due to the connection to Brandon's attempted murder in Arizona. Now we have 3 states on this lady. The next day, they would follow up this call with a welfare check on JJ. When they went to Laurie's house, Alex answered the door with Chad standing right behind him. They were told that Laurie was out, and after some prodding, that JJ was with Kay in Louisiana. Obviously, the police already knew that JJ was not with Kay, and they asked for Laurie's cell phone number. Alex claimed he didn't know his sister's cell phone number, which they clearly knew was a lie. When questioned, Chad said that he had only just met Laurie a few times through his friendship with Alex, which they also knew was bullshit because they have a record of them being married in Hawaii. And so detectives called it in and started looking for backup. They tried again at Alex, Laurie, and Melanie's homes with no answer. Much later, Laurie did answer the door to answer some questions. She told them that JJ was staying with her friend Melanie in Arizona. She also told them that one of her brothers, specifically Adam, was trying to kill her and had been since before Charles had died because they wanted her life insurance.
Okay.
She ranted about Kay and her family of drug addicts, saying that Kay was fighting her for JJ, fighting her for custody of JJ. She also told them that Charles had switched his insurance to his sister, so they were obviously going to try to take JJ, which is why she moved to Idaho to hide out from them.
Okay. Do you have life insurance?
Through work, yes.
Okay.
It's not grand numbers. Just so you're aware, it's not grand numbers.
Does Dad have life? Yeah, he does, right?
In fact, he has all the extras.
What do you mean all the extra? What does that mean?
He has also has accidental death and dismemberment.
What is that? What is accidental death and dismemberment? Is it like if
remember how we talked about when Dad got the satellite phone, so we could ping him in case of an emergency? For example, if he fell off a cliff while he was hunting in Idaho. If he falls off that cliff, we get his regular life insurance plus an additional X amount of dollars because it was an accident.
Because it was like
an accident. Also, if he loses a limb, you get like a certain amount of money for each limb, each type of limb. It's different. I don't know how that works. It's weird to me.
Okay.
But yes.
So how is that the first? If a piano fell from the sky and crushed him.
If a piano fell from the sky, that would definitely count as an accident.
Okay.
We're back to Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
So, Idaho.
So Laurie also continued to tell police that Kay was sending threatening emails and was now sending the police to her door, so she felt violated. When asked who the man was that answered the door with Alex, she said that he was just Alex's friend. She never told the police that they were married, which the police already knew.
Well, yeah, isn't there... they're legally married.
They're legally married, yes. Police left and tried to call friend Melanie to verify that JJ was there, but couldn't reach her, so they called Laurie again and asked her to tell Melanie to call them the next time she spoke to her. Chad called Melanie to tell her not to answer her phone when the police called. He elaborated that they'd told the police that JJ was with her. When Melanie asked, Chad, isn't JJ with his grandparents? He told her no.
Oh.
Laurie eventually called Melanie herself and told her to tell the police that JJ was with her and that they'd been at the movies and asked her to take pictures of random kids to make it look legit.
Well, that's not suspicious at all.
She also told Melanie to tell them that Laurie had plans to get JJ at Thanksgiving. When police called Melanie, she didn't answer the phone, but when she did later call back, and told them the fabricated story that Chad and Laurie had asked her to say. However, an officer was then sent to her door to follow up on the call, and having been given some time to think, common sense prevailed, and Melanie told them that she hadn't seen JJ since September. At this point, Chad and Laurie were getting nervous, so they threw all their shit into bags and they left. The following day, police showed up with warrants to search Laurie and Alex's homes. When they got to Laurie's home, none of her clothes were there, but all of the furniture was, and they found a bottle of JJ's medication that was almost an entire year old, and it was still more than halfway full. So JJ had been off his meds for almost an entire year at this point. When they searched the storage unit, they found all of JJ and Tylee's belongings. There were toys, clothes, personalized blankets, things of that nature, as you would expect to find children have. So they went to Colby's house at this point and started asking him where Laurie had run off to. Immediately, he called his mother in a rage, asking, "What the fuck are you doing? Where are my siblings?" And she responded, "I've got it. I'll take care of it." Thanksgiving weekend of 2019, Chad and Laurie spent the day at Knott's Berry Farm in California, and they made plans to go to Hawaii.
At Knott's Berry Farm?
Yes, it's an amusement park.
I know.
Okay, I didn't know if you knew that.
That's why I was like, wait, Knott's Berry Farm? I know what that is.
Chad and Laurie then flew to Hawaii, and when they left, Laurie took the children's birth certificates, Tylee's phone, and Tylee's bank card. At the same time, Alex and niece Melanie were on their way to Vegas to marry the chosen partners. Alex and his wife got the cheap quickie package, which cost $100 and lasts a whole 3 minutes of their day. There was no flowers, no pictures, and Alex took his wife's last name.
Feminist king.
Oh, clearly. Melanie's ceremony was slightly better. She at least had flowers and was given away by her uncle. Okay. So after the ceremony, I should say, Melanie elaborated on her belief system that she had already took. Like, he knew that she was Mormon,
but he didn't know the extent to what the fuck was going on.
No, she went at him hard after the ceremony. He is said to have told people that he thought it sounded like someone had made a Dungeons and Dragons-like game based on Mormonism.
That's actually...
Isn't it pretty fucking...
That's actually, like... I'm sorry. If I believed in that shit, and then somebody was like, that sounds like somebody did a D&D fucking...
Yep.
I'd actually, like... I'd never go outside again. Like, I wouldn't be able to recover from that.
No. So after hearing Melanie's new and expanded religious beliefs, her new husband was concerned, so he texted his ex-wife for help. The ex did a computer search and was able to locate the divorce record for Melanie. She also was able to find Brandon's name, at which point she reached out to Brandon, who told her all about how Melanie and her had tried to kill him, her freaky belief systems, and their bizarre family. On December 3rd, Melanie returned to Rexburg and found her condo had been searched and her electronics were seized.
She just left them there?
I mean, she was going to Vegas to get married, not to work.
Well, yeah, but like,
I mean,
don't
I'm
you
sure
think
she
if
had
the cops were on your ass, you would take important things with you?
The thing is, I think that as fucked up as she is, she did not realize that her aunt and uncle were going to kill those children. I don't think she knew.
She didn't realize the scope of what she was involved in?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I suppose that makes more sense. I mean, she only tried to kill someone.
She went to the station when she realized that her items had been seized and was interviewed for most of the day. She would not tell them where Chad and Laurie were. Detectives called in the FBI at this point. They ended up creating a task force to look into Laurie, Chad, and all of the deaths and disappearances linked with them. So it was the FBI, Rexburg Police, Arizona Police, Louisiana Police are all in this now.
Damn.
Melanie's husband was concerned for the lives of himself and his children, and he was also concerned when he found out about Tylee and JJ. And he was also he was still also concerned for his new wife, because obviously this is some fucked up shit going on.
Yeah,
So
like he just got roped into
to help investigators. So they put a wire on him. For 2 weeks, he was undercover for the FBI. He gave investigators all of the info that he could remember about what Melanie had told him about their extremist beliefs. Chad and Laurie were quickly setting up house in a posh development in Hawaii. Their new neighbors rarely saw them and said that they were very guarded around other people. By December 8th, friend Melanie was feeling really guilty and decided to try to confront Laurie about the missing children. She tried to casually ask where they were, and Laurie evaded the questions. Laurie said that she had to move JJ because Grandma Kay threatened to kidnap him. When asked why Melanie couldn't know where JJ was, Laurie told her that it was safer for Melanie to not know so no one could come after her.
Okay.
She just wanted to let her know that JJ was safe and happy. Melanie said that Chad had told her in their phone call that JJ would never be found. She said that he didn't want anyone to know. He reiterated that JJ is safe. Laurie became sketched out at this point, asking if she was being recorded, saying, "I don't know what your intention is. I love you with all of my heart." Melanie countered that if she really loved her, they wouldn't have asked her to lie to the police about the situation. But they told her that that was God's will. And Laurie said that it sounded like Melanie was being influenced by dark spirits. And Chad told her she should have some more faith. The conversation went on and they started arguing in Mormon quotes. They used scriptures and all sorts of nonsense to argue with each other. At this point, Laurie hung up on Melanie. She was done. She wasn't going to have the conversation. Melanie took the recording to the police, and based on things that Chad had said about Tammy, they decided that they were going to autopsy her. On December 11th, authorities quietly dug up Tammy and autopsied her in a matter of hours. She was dug up, autopsied, and reburied all before 2 p.m. The following day, Alex, who had recently returned from Mexico, where apparently he was honeymooning and buying prescription drugs, he started complaining of shortness of breath. So he called a friend and asked for a blessing. I'm not going to call the doctor. I'm going to call our friend and ask for a blessing when we can't breathe.
He's just like,
the friend,
can you keep blessing, please?
The friend called Alex's new wife because he was obviously concerned about him. She called him, and it sounded like he was having trouble speaking, so she called her adult son, who went to their house and found Alex unresponsive.
Damn, that's crazy.
He was also laying in his own waste.
Oh, okay. So is he, like, dead?
His wife's son called 911. CPR was administered, but Alex died on the bathroom floor.
Okay.
Paramedics took him to the hospital where police interviewed his wife. She said he hadn't seen Laurie in a while and didn't know how to reach her. She ended the interview after requesting her lawyer. Autopsy showed that Alex had no obvious signs of trauma. He also had blood clots in his lungs and cardiac issues.
Oh, so
karma. Maybe. Who knows? But maybe his sister had something to do with it. On December 19th, niece Melanie's husband broke cover and admitted to Melanie that he had been a snitch for the FBI. But he had also ended it with the FBI because he felt guilty. Melanie accepted his apology and immediately forgave him. On December 20th of 2019, the task force went public. Their news briefing was titled Missing Endangered Children. It outlined the missing children, Tammy's case being opened, which it outlined the missing children, as well as the fact that Tammy's case was being opened as a possible murder investigation, but they had not yet told her children this. So her children found out that their father may have killed their mother on an FBI news brief.
That's actually insane. They didn't care to inform the kids at all?
I think they were trying.
Wait, how old were they?
They were. Some of them were older. I mean, they had a number of children, Mormons, but they were older children. They had been married for quite a while. They had been married for like a very long time. So they had older kids. The task force asked for the public's help. Now that it was public, Brandon and Kay started posting their stories to Facebook and tagged all the media outlets, which is actually pretty smart. They condemned preparing a people as being a cult and negatively influencing Laurie and her niece Melanie.
I mean, it was.
Chad and Laurie could only follow the fallout in the news, and they quickly hired a Rexburg attorney. The attorney spoke to the media in their defense, saying that Chad was a loving husband and was supported by his children. Laurie is a devoted mother, and they look forward to addressing the allegations.
They look forward to it? Okay. Ugh.
Preparing a People also issued a statement saying that it denies that it was a cult.
When it is, it literally is.
They also removed all of the podcast media that featured both Chad and Laurie because they felt it would be inappropriate.
Do we have, are there any traces of that?
I'm sure there are.
Do you think somebody got downloads of them before they were deleted?
On December 30th, Rexburg police again made a statement appealing to Laurie and Chad to do the right thing and said they believed that their kids were in danger. Which brings us to 2020.
Okay.
On January 3rd, the FBI and the task force raided Chad's property looking for any information that they could find. They took the electronics, journals, and DNA evidence. That evening, Colby told reporters that Laurie refused to tell him where his siblings were and that he could only hope for the best. On the 5th, Kay and Larry Woodcock went to Idaho to meet with police. The following day, the couple held a press conference, putting up a $20,000 reward and publicizing their new website, Find JJ Entirely. They were hoping that the public could help, and then they also begged Laurie to do the right thing. Again, they begged her to do the right thing. They said that they hoped and they prayed that the children were still alive. On January 10th, Chad's brother issued a statement begging his brother to cooperate with authorities and resolve the matter. He noted that his feelings were not shared by other family members of the Daybell family. On January 16th, Idaho filed a petition to the court ordering that Laurie produce Tylee and JJ within 5 days. But they had to track down Laurie and Chad so they could serve the court order. So they used their cell phone data to track them to Hawaii. 8 days later, Idaho officials flew to Hawaii to assist.
The people in Idaho flew to Idaho.
Yes.
Idaho. It was the shortest flight ever. It was like 2 minutes. They went up in the air. They landed.
So 8 days later,
same airport.
Idaho officials flew to Hawaii to assist in serving the couple with this court order. After surveilling them for a bit, Chad and Laurie were served on January 25th. On January 26th, an unbothered Chad and Laurie made their way to a nearby beach resort. Hawaiian police then, at this point, pulled them over and served them with a warrant to search their car and rental home. At this point, the news is involved. Keith Morrison is on site, and we'll get into my hero. The Hawaiian police pulled them over on their way to the beach resort and served a warrant to search their car and their rental home. When confronted by journalists, Laurie was dismissive and quite flippant with them. She seemed unbothered by the allegations against her.
She seemed unbothered by the allegations that she killed her kids.
Yep. East Idaho News went above and beyond here.
She didn't even feign distress.
She really didn't.
Oh my god!
You got to see the video. I watched it, maybe at work, but I watched it at lunch while I was finishing this research.
Of her being interviewed?
Of them trying to interview her, and you just want to punch her in the face. The fact that this reporter did not punch her in the face is astounding.
Laurie Vallow.
East Idaho News really went above and beyond. They waited until Chad and Laurie were stranded without their car, and they just went for it because the police had impounded their car at this point.
Well, yeah.
So they're stranded.
Chad and okay.
They went. I have the app on my phone. Because of this, I have the East Idaho News app on my phone. They went. So reporter Nate Eaton went at them hard and fast, repeatedly asking where Laurie's kids were. The couple dismissed the reporter, and when he asked that they give the public answers because people were praying for them, meaning their children, Laurie responded with an unemotional, "That's great."
That's great.
That's great.
They're just like, we're praying for the safety of your children, which you have been accused of killing. She's just like, that's great.
That's great. He continued asking where the kids were and asked if they were alive.
Yeah, where are your children? I'm watching that.
They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
This bitch has no
You're
comment.
over here in Hawaii? Where are your children? Yeah, why don't you just give us a comment? Just tell us where they are. Chad, where are Laurie's kids? What happened to Tammy, Chad? Can you tell us what happened to Tammy? Why have you guys been in Hawaii for so long?
And they're just, since you can't see the video, maybe you should link it in the Instagram post for this episode. They're just walking away. They're just walking away.
It's awful.
They just seem annoyed. Yes,
it's the fact that the reporter, that my boy Nate is there, harassing them.
Nate Eaton.
If you look at all of the articles, it's almost entirely Nate Eaton who is going after them.
Oh my god, she
single-handedly.
actually did say that shit. Hold up. Okay.
Listen, just tell people what's happening. There's people around the country praying for your children, praying for you guys. Why don't you give us answers? That's great.
That's great. Bitch!
Right? He went out at one point. He actually flat out asked them if they'd committed any crimes. He asked Chad what happened to Tammy. They never said anything else to Nate Eaton, and they disappeared into the private beach club where the reporters couldn't go. Everyone's assessment of the whole encounter was that Laurie was definitely guilty of something. The couple continued as they were and reportedly making plans to flee to Mexico when Dateline got a hold of the information.
When Dateline got a hold of fucking... Oh my god.
You know what?
I mean,
as much as I say about the news can be super sensationalized and ridiculous, I gotta give it to them in this case. They went after them hard. All of them did.
I mean, if it works, if it gets answers, I'll take it. Oh, Piper, I know. This is very distressing stuff. When did she get in here?
I just let her in. So Dateline did not notice. Dateline staked them out until they emerged, clearly ready for another beach day. And they had a similar encounter with the couple that Nate Eaton did. On January 30th, the deadline was closing in, and Kay and Larry Woodcock filed for an emergency custody petition of JJ to be served at the same time when Laurie produced her children. But the deadline came and went, and Laurie never made a move to produce the children.
Well, obviously.
With that, Kay spoke to reporters, calling Laurie a black widow, a monster, and that she clearly was playing games with everybody. At this point, she admitted that they weren't as optimistic with the children's futures and begged Laurie to produce the children. On February 20th, Hawaiian police arrested Laurie while Idaho detectives looked on. She was arrested for 2 counts: felony desertion of a child, misdemeanor charge of resisting an officer, and giving false information. Her bail was set at $5 million.
$5 million?
And word spread like wildfire. Chad sat front and center in the courthouse while Laurie was being arraigned. Her lawyer asked for a lower bail because it was excessive given the nature of the crimes that she was being accused of. The judge upheld the bail agreement. The judge upheld the bail of $5 million, agreeing with prosecutors that she was most definitely a flight risk. So Laurie went to jail pending her extradition hearing. Laurie called Chad daily. On February 25th, Idaho prosecutors submitted a probable cause affidavit, which outlines everything done so far to try to find Tylee and JJ, Laurie's history of lying to the police, and the Idaho governor moved to quicken the extradition process.
What is extradition?
Somebody is arrested in another state or country. The state or country that is prosecuting has to move through the court system to have them sent back to them.
Okay.
There are countries that do not have an extradition treaty with the United States, and that's where most of the criminals go. At Laurie's hearing, Laurie's Hawaiian lawyer told the court that her Idaho lawyer was fighting the order to produce their children, saying that they were only doing it so that they could take the kids and send them to foster care. He also claimed that their move to Hawaii had been a pre-planned move. They weren't running.
Duh.
And now the newlyweds were returning to Idaho with Laurie in custody. Another inmate described Laurie as being aware that she was the center of attention, given the nature of her crimes, and seemed to be loving it. On February 28th, Laurie was arraigned in Idaho. There were many people outside the courthouse carrying signs and wearing sweatshirts in support of JJ and Tylee. The signs and sweatshirts, a lot of them read, "Where are the kids?" and "Justice for JJ and Tylee."
Where were they getting these sweatshirts from?
They had them made. These are strangers. They went to the courthouse to fucking nail it home. That's something that needs to be done about these people. Larry, Kay, and Colby were all in attendance when Laurie appeared in court, as was her husband, Chad. Laurie was wearing her prison uniform, a bulletproof vest. She made bright red lipstick made from Jolly Ranchers.
Made from Jolly Ranchers.
She had eyeliner on, which was pencil lead, and was smiling and being flirty with Chad from across the courtroom.
That's actually disgusting. That's actually... Okay, no, if she was actually innocent, you should have put her in jail just for that. Because that's actually just disgusting.
It is really disgusting.
In your prison uniform, and your bulletproof vest, and your Jolly Rancher lipstick, and your literal pencil eyeliner.
Yeah, she needed to get made up.
Clearly not enough.
Her lawyers again requested that bond be lowered, saying that such a high bond was equivalent to being held without bond because her family could not afford it. They also said that she couldn't be a flight risk because of all the media following her every move, which may actually be more efficient and effective than the police surveillance. The prosecutor pointed out that Laurie had moved many, many times in the last 6 months, so she was definitely a flight risk.
Well, yeah.
The prosecutor also pointed out that there were a number of suspicious deaths surrounding Laurie and her family. He also reminded the court that Laurie continually lied to authorities and wouldn't aid in the search for her children.
Which, if you were a mother and your children were missing, wouldn't you be aiding in their search?
I would do anything it took.
Well, yeah, I know. Thank you. Thank you.
Judge Edens reduced bail to $1 million with the provision that she must wear an ankle monitor if she makes bail. But even with the lowered bail, none of the bail bonds companies would back her. They felt that she was definitely too much of a flight risk. When you get bonded out with the bail bondsman, many times, so it's $1 million for this case. So her bail is $1 million. The family puts up 10%.
Uh-huh.
So $100,000 in this case.
Uh-huh.
And the bond company pays the entirety.
The rest of it?
Yes.
Okay.
If the inmate runs, the family forfeits the money that they've already put down, and the bondsman will go after them. They will go after the inmates. They will track them down by any means necessary because they're about to lose a lot of money. Which is part of the reason why probably the government allows that to happen, because somebody's going to find them one way or another. If it's not the police, it's going to be the bail bondsman.
Yeah.
On March 16th, Laurie's attorney, who she had told him was her son in a past life, issued a statement that she was innocent. Enter the Rona. Everything was being done remotely, and the attorney and clients could only meet in prison if they were separated by glass and they spoke to each other over the phone. Her lawyer said this violated Laurie's rights. The prison reminded them that this wasn't a Laurie-specific thing. Everybody had to follow this procedure because of the Rona. If the Rona gets in the prison, everybody gets sick. That's just the way it's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
This was their protocol for everybody. On April 1st, documents were sent to Maricopa County recommending that Laurie be charged with conspiracy to commit first-degree murder in the death of her husband, Charles. Meanwhile, the Idaho Attorney General's office has taken over the investigation on Chad and Laurie for conspiracy. The investigation on Chad and Laurie for conspiracy and attempted murder.
Well,
and
yeah.
possibly, probably murder.
Well, yeah.
Chad was now living back at his home that he had shared with Tammy. You know, the one that had the pet cemetery. I spelt it right here.
Oh my god. Wait, but he went back there, but now they can trace him. Is he stupid?
Yeah. On May 1st, live streamed and socially distanced, they had another bail reduction hearing. Laurie's attorney accused prison officials of recording their discussions with her. Prison officials said that it did happen, but it wasn't just Laurie, and when it was discovered that confidential conversations were recorded, they deleted them as soon as they realized the error. He also asked that her bail be lowered to $10,000 so he could work with her in person for her defense.
$10,000 for all that shit? Are you?
He claimed that Laurie was economically impacted by the Rona because she was in prison and no one was buying Chad's books.
Maybe nobody's buying them because they're shit.
Maybe.
Also because, you know, nobody wants to buy books from somebody who's, like, on trial. Or, like, you know, accused of heinous crimes, such as killing children.
Yeah. Prosecutors brought up the fact that they had a ton of money just months before, and they used that to move to Hawaii. Where was all that money? Hawaii is, as we discussed, really fucking expensive.
Yeah, because, yeah.
The judge did not reduce the bail, saying that Laurie wasn't being treated any differently than any other inmate in the prison. The FBI had been diligent working through all of the evidence in an effort to find the children. During this, they came upon the text message from Chad to Tammy from September 9th, 2019, where he told her about the murdering and burning of a raccoon. So the investigators looked at that a little harder. They felt that they needed to bring this new evidence to light to the prosecutors.
Yeah.
But while we're speaking of light, raccoons are nocturnal. How is Chad finding a raccoon on his property during the middle of the day?
I never seen a raccoon.
Because they're nocturnal.
Yeah.
I mean, the only time we see raccoons are on the side of the road. So they asked around, and the neighbor said that on around September 19th, they heard a shot. And when they confronted Chad about it, he told them the story about the raccoon. They mentioned that Chad had rarely used his fire pit prior to that, but he had used it multiple times after. We're so close. See it? So close.
Get me out of here!
So the FBI began tracking Alex Cox's cell phone pings and were able to determine that he had been at the pit for much of that day and the day after JJ was last seen. So they started trying to come up with a game plan to search the property. On June 9th, 6 weeks prior to the end of days,
Supposedly. I mean, I'm still here. So,
I guess it didn't work out for us. FBI showed up with a warrant for Chad's property, which included the right to dig up the yard. Chad was given the option to stay and watch them or leave. So Chad left and went and sat in his car in the driveway.
he didn't even go anywhere. He just sat in the
He
driveway.
couldn't go anywhere.
Oh, he wasn't allowed? So they were just like, do you want to sit here or do you want to...
closed off the street.
Oh, so he couldn't drive.
But also, so the media couldn't, I mean, there was media in the air. There was helicopters and shit. But
so they couldn't pull up.
Yes.
Right. So he couldn't have gone anywhere because the street was closed.
They had sealed the property, basically. He was on the phone most of his time in the car, and the dig began. They did it grid style, like you see in the movies. And they had cadaver dogs brought in. They also used satellite imaging to mark the pings of Alex's cell phone, so they would have a better idea of where to start. The dogs zeroed in very quickly on a spot under a tree where the soil did appear raised. The area was 2 feet by 4 feet. They began removing soil, and they discovered 3 large white stones, which were obviously placed on top of wooden planks. When they removed those, they found a black garbage bag that smelled like decomposition. They had found JJ. He was wrapped in duct tape and with a white plastic bag over his head. He was still in his pajamas. When the coroner came, Chad got out to see what was going on and then got back into his car. At this point, obviously,
he just casually went back in his fucking car?
Yeah, back in his car. Laurie calls him at this point. She called him just after 11 a.m. and he told her they're searching the property in the backyard. They're looking for the kids. Laurie just replies, okay. Chad urged her to call her lawyer.
I mean, they already found the body.
And then they ended the call with professions of love to each other.
Oh my god. I'm suffering over here.
And when he hung up the phone, Chad decided he was going to try to make a break for it. But as the whole area was sealed, he was quickly detained and arrested at 11:30 in the morning. At 1 p.m., they began the search on the pet cemetery. They found multiple animals and could smell fresh decomposition. They found some exposed bones in the area and determined that they were human remains. This was Tylee. It was obvious that she had been dismembered, and they were only able to ID her by using dental records. That night, the task force held a press conference that they'd found human remains on the Daybell property and that Chad was in custody. He was booked on 2 counts of concealment of evidence. At his arraignment, the judge ignored Chad's attorney's claims that Chad wasn't a flight risk and set his bail at $1 million. The people of Idaho were devastated. They had a candlelight vigil where hundreds of people attended, and everyone was wearing Tylee and JJ's favorite colors, purple and blue. The whole community of Rexburg showed up for these kids. Laurie was then returned to court and charged with 2 counts of concealment of evidence. Her bond was set for an additional $1 million for these charges. Chad was charged with additional concealment charges. Laurie's trial was set for January 2021 for her original charges.
Not even everything else?
Just the original.
Wait, do they have to have a separate trial?
I mean, there's a lot of
Or
charges. It really
just like a lot to cover in one trial.
It really on July 22nd, July 22nd came and went, and the world went on. Jesus hadn't returned.
Sucks.
Chad and Laurie's followers were devastated by the fact that they were all still there. Or that we were all still here. They expected us to be gone.
They were like, oh shit, the end times didn't happen.
On August 3rd, Chad appeared in court and it was broadcast live on YouTube due to social distancing.
On YouTube.
Police were called to the stand and they detailed that of what they found. Friend Melanie testified as well, and they did present the recording of their phone call where she confronted the couple about asking her to lie about having JJ. Chad appeared agitated during the playing of the recording. The FBI team testified in horrifying detail about how they found the remains of JJ and Tylee. Kay and Larry Woodcock were in the courtroom and they had to listen to this.
I'm sure you put it a lot more concisely than they did.
Chad Daybell's lawyer claimed that they didn't have cause to prosecute him and asked for a dismissal due to a lack of evidence.
What do you mean they didn't have cause to prosecute him?
The bodies on his property weren't enough, apparently. The judge disagreed.
Well, obviously.
Chad pled not guilty.
What do you mean he pled not guilty? Oh my fucking god.
LDS leaders issued a statement to their congregants not to become involved in this fiasco. And Chad's lawyer was pissed because 26% of the population, and therefore 26% of the jury pool, is Mormon.
So,
he claims that the church officials tainted the jury pool. At Laurie's arraignment, she also pled not guilty.
What do you mean? Oh my god, I hate these motherfuckers. Well, obviously, but like, oh my fucking god.
Prosecutors...
After all that, you're still being like, I didn't do anything. Like, you've lost. You've already lost. Like, literally,
Prosecution asked for a joint trial for the Daybells due to the repetitive nature of the evidence, the witnesses, the timelines.
Well, yeah. Makes sense.
Special prosecutors interviewed Tammy's sister and Alex's widow. On October 29th, the judge agreed for a joint trial to begin on May 5th, 2021, what would have been JJ's 9th birthday. Charles and Laurie were indicted for first-degree murder of both JJ and Tylee, as well as a laundry list of other charges. This means it is now a capital case. A few days later, Laurie was found to be unfit for trial as the court psychologist had felt that she needed psychiatric treatments.
Well, yeah.
Laurie was deemed incompetent to stand trial. They said she couldn't understand the charges and assist in her defense.
I mean, wait, what do you mean she couldn't understand the charges?
So when they say that you're incompetent to stand trial, they're saying that you're not able to understand the charges leveled against you, but you're also not competent enough to aid in your defense. She was given a 90-day psych evaluation.
A 90-day?
90-day. In June, Maricopa County announced charges of conspiracy to commit murder, conspiracy to commit the murder of Charles Vallow. August 5th, 2021, prosecutors announced they were seeking the death penalty against Chad and Laurie. Chad children went public and said they supported him and claimed that he was innocent.
Oh my god, are you kidding me? I'm sorry. But if you... Well, I mean, you can't kill your kids and then I'd be dead. But, like, if you killed multiple children, or you were involved, like, a willing participant in killing multiple children, I do not care. I am putting your ass in jail forever.
And I give you my blessing on that. We're so close. In May of 2023, the judge ruled to dismiss the death penalty against Laurie due to discovery violations with the prosecution.
What does that mean?
This ensures her constitutional rights. So if prosecution finds new evidence, they have to pretty much immediately report it to the defense that they have this new evidence. If they don't do it in a timely manner, or they just don't do it at all, that becomes a violation of her rights.
Okay. So technically, since that happened, she doesn't get the death penalty?
Yes. On July 31st, 2023, Laurie Vallow was convicted of the murder and conspiracy to commit murder charges on her children, Tylee and JJ, as well as the murder of Tammy Daybell. Before sentencing, she made a statement. She really rambled on about the communications with Jesus and various spirits.
Okay, religious psychosis.
Part of her statement is as follows.
Oh.
I mourn with all of you who mourn my children and Tammy. Jesus Christ knows the truth of what happened here. Jesus Christ knows no one was murdered. Accidental deaths happen.
What do you mean accidental?
Fatal side effects happen. She has received 5 life sentences.
5? That's crazy.
The judge,
I hope she
gave her a scathing fucking review at the end of this trial.
A scathing review.
Yeah, he gave her a scathing review.
I hope she spends all of her next lives in jail. I mean, she has 5 life sentences, but I hope she spends all of them suffering.
What the judge said to her in front of the entire court and the world is the most unimaginable type of murder is having a mother murder her own children, and that is exactly what you did. I don't think you have any remorse. You took them away from this world. It is the most shocking thing I can imagine. You haven't said that you're sorry. You may not believe it to this day that you've done anything wrong, and I think you feel that you are justified by your religious beliefs. But I don't believe in a God or in any religion that would want what happened here to happen.
Real shit. Because, like, if God wants you to kill your own children, why are we worshiping God?
Yes. In November of 23, Laurie was extradited to Arizona to face murder charges for her husband, Charles Vallow, and conspiracy to attempted murder of Melanie's ex-husband, Brandon. Her trial is set to begin in Arizona in August of 2024. As of right now, Chad Daybell's case is currently in court. His case has just begun. When I wrote this, they were in the midst of jury selection, but they are currently, as per my East Idaho News app, and Nate Eaton, my boy Nate, has reported, they are currently discussing all of the vile things that the FBI agents found on Chad's property that day.
Okay. So, are we gonna...
We will have an update.
Yeah,
it will probably be a short update and lots of terrible words at the conclusion of this trial. Fingers crossed that he gets the death penalty, although with the death penalty, it will automatically be appealed.
What do you mean?
If anyone is convicted of the death penalty, it is an automatic appeal.
Wait, no, but like, kill yourself and die. Oh my god.
But if you're found guilty and given the death penalty, they will automatically file for an appeal, regardless of whether or not you want them to or not.
Okay.
So it'll be a long time before we get any closure.
but
6 feet under closure in this case. I'm hoping it's something like painful because they brought the electric chair back. So can we do that? Can we have it like mangled, like in the Green Mile? Can we do that to him? Because that would make me feel better about life. If we could just do that to him.
we break the medieval torture devices out of the museums. And
the Iron Maiden. We could do that.
we fucking...
The Rat. All of the above.
You know, where they tie your limbs to the horses and they have them run in different directions.
Drawn and quartered.
Yeah, drawn and
No, but
quartered.
they usually lay you open, and they cut open your stomach, and then they crank out your intestines, and then they draw and quarter you. You know what? This man killed children, so yes, he deserves it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we will have some updates going forward. We will do something much later for the next one. Yeah. The next few, I believe.
Next one's going to be a cryptid. Please.
I will, at this point, this is a very long episode. Thank you for hanging in here with us.
If you've made it this far through all of the episodes, why?
We appreciate you sticking with us through this.
I sure didn't want to stick with us for this.
Well, find us, Facebook, Instagram, email us, sinisterstudiespod@gmail.com. Rate us, review us, follow us.
Wherever you're listening, do whatever the thing is.
And please try to sleep tonight.
I know I won't. I'm going to be up till like 4 a.m. watching Dance Mom. Yeah. Do whatever the thing is on the platform you're listening on. Give us a good rating. You know, do the thing. Have a good day. Because I know I'm not having a good day right now. Okay, well, anyway, adios.